What's happening, guys? Willie here. Yeah, we're here at the old table of contents this morning. We were actually going to do a tailgate talk, which we haven't done in quite some time, but Mother Nature decided that we weren't going to sit at the tailgate. She decided that it was going to rain. So we're going to sit at the table of contents and have a table of contents talk instead of a, tailgate talk. It happens. I think a lot of my tailgate talks have consisted of rain, if I'm not mistaken. Weird. Never really thought about that. Anyway, what we're talking about today is Zebco, the 0 Hour Bomb Company. That's right. When they were early on in their life, they were the 0 Hour Bomb Company. And they decided later, in the later 50s, to adopt basically the Zebco name instead of 0 Hour Bomb Company. I would imagine you had to have a lot of real estate on a reel to have 0 Hour Bomb Company written all the way around the thing. But there are reels out there early on that do have that name on it. One day I will find one of those. I will. I'm going to find one day. But what we're going to do today is we're kind of going to jump eras here just a little bit. We're going to go from the 50s, early 50s, to later 50s. And we're going to jump right straight through to the 80s. Because the 60s and 70s, Zebcos, they didn't do a lot for me. You started getting into some of the plastic housings and things like that. And it's not that they're not good reels and didn't do their jobs. It's just that they weren't things I really used or kept around very long. Let's put it that way. I had a couple of them, I think 202s, 80 somethings, and other numbers, miscellaneous, put them in order. This one, Zebco, blah, blah. Yeah, I've had a bunch of them through the years. And a lot of them I've gotten rid of, gave to other people or what have you. But there's certain ones that I kept. The ones you're about to see, obviously I have, so I kept those. And we're going to take a good look at them. I'm going to give you a little history on them right now. So let's start off with the earliest one, which is the one I had earlier. Which is the one I had up when you started watching. Anyway, this is the Zebco Model 33 spinner. Okay, the spinner came along in 55 to 56, if I'm not mistaken. 55 to 56. What you had were black covers with a chrome center section. Okay, and the cool thing about this was the beginning, so you had no anti-reverse. That's right. All you had was a bait spinner, and you can pop that bait spinner off if that's what you want to do. If you don't like hearing that click. But I like hearing the click. I said I like hearing the click. Mainly because it does give you a little bit of some sort of anti-reverse, otherwise you have nothing. And just that little click is not going to give you a lot of anti-reverse, you can trust me on that. So it ought to be really fun trying to use this guy out here. Now what I've paired this thing up with is an old True Temper rod. Really kind of, it's just neat. This True Temper rod's got a little slide back here. You just slide it back, pop the reel right off, no screwing with things or anything like that to tighten it down. Plus, it's a little bit bigger rod, and I also have decided that this is the one that's going to get the hoolie popper. Now, if you watched the last video, the old hoolie popper brought in some big fish. I think it would be very, very cool to see this reeling in a big old bass. I think that would be fun. Now, you do have a drag system on these, so we should be able to at least slow the fish down some if we get one. All right, let's jump into the next one real fast here. Now, when you got up into about 1958, I believe it was, 58, 59, you wound up, they switched the covers. You ended up with silver covers, black middle, okay? But you got an anti-reverse. They saw the flaw in that. They did. And it was no longer considered the spinner, it was the 33. It was the Model 33, Zebco 33, stamped right up on the old cover up there. Now this is on some kind of old fiberglass Kingfisher rod. I just thought it was really neat the way it looked on there, so that's why it's on there. Now y'all know me, I'm not much of a vintage rod person, but this is a solid fiberglass rod. I don't foresee it breaking. The eyelets were in pretty good shape. I cleaned them up and got a lot of, if there was any rust on them, got that off of there. The only thing you have to really watch with the old fiberglass rods is that they're really flimsy. And if you rear back really hard, it'll come all the way back around and hit you in the face. But you get a really good long distance once it uncoils and flings that lure out there. Just saying. Anyway, that was somewhere around 1958. Okay, so we're going to jump out of the 50s now, because I just thought it was neat to start at the beginning there, kind of where Zebco did their thing and changed, and jump straight past the 60s and 70s, and we're going to jump into the gaudy, whacked out 80s. There you go. That is a Model 33 Classic, and this is an actual combo. That's right, it's a combo. They sold this, you could buy the reel separately, or you could buy the combo. It was a very peculiar setup, but it was typical of the 80s. It's silver with gold, I guess, accents and things on it. It's very 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, kind of Captain Nemo sort of looking. It's the best I can explain. It just has that. It looks like it should be able to dive down 20,000 leagues and come back up again. Give you that Nautilus effect. Now, by this time, the 33 had really, got its stuff pretty much the same as it would. You had your drag, you had an on and off button. If I'd stop hitting all these other rods and reels, you had an on and off button. You had your drag, little dial right there. These were pretty good reels. I used them a little bit. Not the 33 as much as I did the UL4 and the UL3, which of course were your micros. I want to take these three guys down to the lake. Now, if you recall on the last video, caught some pretty big fish. A couple of good sized bass out there using the hula popper. And I do have the hula popper on that very first no anti-reverse 33 spinner. That ought to be intriguing. But I just think it would be really cool to see these three reels catch some fish. It's been a while since they've been out, and as a matter of fact, that 33 spinner has never been out, because when I first bought it, it was broken. I bought that reel for $3, and it was broken and was missing some parts. Fortunately, not throwing anything away, was waiting for my wife to chime in on that. I had some pieces and parts that would make that 33 spinner work, and it really works well. It's very smooth. It seems to, at least in here, it drops a bait really easily. There's no real drag behind it. I think it's going to cast pretty far. So that one ought to be fun. The other two were both Frankensteined together out of several other reels. The 33, Model 33 from, say, 58, that one it took 3 reels to make that one work. What I did was basically take the better of the 3 and put them all together and make one really nice one. No dented case, no rough gear chatter or anything like that. It's just a really well-made, well put together anyway, out of 3 other reels, or 2 other reels total reel, and I think it'll be okay. The Classic was actually put together out of 2 reels. The one Classic that I had was kind of junk, but some of the parts were still good, so I bought that also at a flea market, and we put this Classic together and made one really nice Classic combo. So, if Mother Nature allows, we're going to get out of here, go down to the lake, see if we can use all 3 of these reels, get them back out doing what they do. So from the 50s to the 80s, we're gonna do some classic fishing, which is pretty much what I do on a regular basis. Nothing wrong with that. I'm classic, so no matter what I put in my hands to go fish with, it's a classic. Yeah, I like the way that sounded myself. So here we are. It's still pretty early, so I'm not going to talk really loud. This is the first one we're going to throw. The old spinner 33 with the hula popper. I'm hoping I can get distance-wise over there, because I hear things jumping over there. Cross your fingers. Let's turn that off. No anti-reverse. There we go. Model 33 spinner. Who knows how long it's been since this reel has reeled a fish in. We're going to skip forward now to the 80s. Let's see if there's anything in there that's wanting to possibly, it's wanting to possibly hit underwater as opposed to on top. And then we're going to move. Well, I'm going to show you, this is real life. Not all these things were good. It got all tangled around the center screw. And then trying to get it to come loose, it looks as though it has broken. Yep, it's broke. So we will not be using this one. Here's that thing I was telling you about as Zebco got newer. And even though this is the 80s, it doesn't mean that it worked well. You probably can't see this, but there's a plastic piece inside here that keeps this from going too far. And it has now, the plastic pieces broke off, and now that's gone way up there. Fortunately, I do have another one of these at the house. Just needed a bait change. Not crappie though, it is bass. Some of them are just pretty fat. There you go, not big, but a fish is caught. That is just so much fun. I saw that little guy come out of the edge of the bank there to get that one. He wasn't coming unhooked. That little guy there, he thought he was a whole lot more than what he actually is. But again, this one was up against the bank, not out there where the other ones are feeding. I keep getting hits out there, but I'm not actually hooking them for some reason. This is the kind of thing though, let's just say you got your child at the lake and you see this happening, these splashings out there. This is what's out there. You want to get a kid started in something. Guess I went on too long for him. As I was saying, you want to get a child started in something where he'll enjoy himself and have a good time and be hooked on fishing for a long time. These little bass out here feeding like that with a little grub, a little jig, you can get a child hooked on fishing for life. All of these are about the same size, and that's what's feeding out there by that aerator. Okay, putting him back. Might switch back over to the old spinner version, and let's just see if we can hit something top water. Then we'll switch to a grub like this one and catch a few of these little guys. These little chickens of the sea are just hitting like monsters. Maybe they're in training. That's what it's all about. They're out there learning how to do this. This guy, he gets A+. Also have to remember with the old spinner model 33, there's no anti-reverse. Better fish. He's got scrimp. He's mad. You took my doodah. Give that back. Fun. We're going to put the hula popper back on that other one over there, and we're going to go back over to the pier, and let's just see if there's anything else against that bank over there that's a little larger than what that one has been reeling in. And let's just hope, cross our fingers. If nothing else, we'll be right back at the house, and we'll be talking about these guys right here. My God. Yes, yeah. Come here. Stop it, nonsense. Oh! This is where I say the technology of rods comes into play. Because the hook set, obviously, when you're trying to set, you know, not very strong at all. But I thought I was keeping enough tension on him to get him all the way to the bank, which I did. I got him all the way to the bank, but I thought he was hooked well enough. I was more worried about the line breaking than the losing him off the lure. That might have been the only chance we had over here. Kind of surprised me though, back in that cove further. Haven't been doing much back there lately. I'm gonna try a few more, but there's a good possibility this might be the last one you see, which is okay. We've done well. It was about the reels anyway. It really wasn't as much about the fish as it was the reel. So let's get him back. Well, we are back at the house, and I'm gonna tell you, it's hot. I'm not joking. It is Sasquatch in the Sahara hot. Man, just thick. Whew. So anyway, what happened? Man, we had a good time. That's what happened. There is just something about using this old stuff and catching good fish, even losing a few good fish, but having the chance to put them back out there doing what they do, or doing what they were supposed to be doing, and probably did back in their day. But it's a good feeling. I enjoy it. I really do. Now, we did have one meltdown. That happens. That happens. And a lot of times that's why I say never go with just one reel out, because something's going to go south. It can happen quick. I go out and do a lot of these reviews on, or not, I don't want to call them reviews. They're just my opinion on things. It's more like a repinion. I made that up. Anybody else uses it? You heard it first right here. It's not a review, it's just my opinion. It is a repinion. I like it. Might even get a shirt made, who knows. But we did have one meltdown, and that happens. Who knew? You know, and it's funny that the two older ones from the 50s were the ones that were holding their own, but the 80s, well, threw a little plastic in there and things just went south. But this is why I keep parts reels and stuff. Got another parts reel right there. And inside this parts reel is the piece that broke. I say inside is the piece right there that broke. That white piece right in there busted. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm going to point to it anyway. Up in there is a little hole with a little white dot. That little white dot is a little plastic piece that sticks up. And it sticks up and comes through that hole to keep that little piece right there from going all the way back. Now, stand by just a moment. Hold on, what is going on here? Now, I don't know that you care. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm going to show you anyway. One of these things is not like the other. This one is broke. Pretty sure you can see that in there, at least I'm hoping you can. This one's okay, this one's broke. And unfortunately, I don't know if that snaps out. I can't tell if it's a snap. It looks like it could be. I don't know. It might just snap in there and you may be able to order another piece. That'll be for a later date to try to figure out if that's how this works. Because the lighting in my house is superb. Great. And I can't really see it. And it may just be that pin pops out of there. I don't know, one of the two things. But I'll look into that further. I don't foresee this reel maybe ever getting used again. I got it more along the fact that it was a sentimental thing to me. There's a lot of this stuff that I truly could get rid of. And it just because I found it at the flea market and it was extremely cheap. And I feel like I've saved these things. I feel like I've rescued them from a death, even though some of them were literally on the verge anyway. But taking those that are so far gone that they can't be used again and using them towards something that can be brings another one back to life. So that's how I look at it. But anyway, there's the good one that we will... Where'd you go? Here's what we'll do right in front of you. Put the good one. Come on there, you spinner. There we go. This is the lid that came off that one. Now we have a functioning reel again. That's what happens. When plastic comes into play, people, things can go south quick. As we saw. So I'll put that one on there. I don't know what I'll ever use off of it. Maybe we can get that piece again and put you to the side over here. Grease off my fingers. Grape crush. Cheers to you all. Man, that's good. All right, let's go this one. The Model 33. Just 33. Okay, just a 33. I'm just going to show you that real quick. Came along about 1958, as I said before. This one performed pretty darn well, I have to say. It cast really far. It reeled very smoothly. The gear ratio is a little weird. You gotta really go 100 miles an hour. We did catch one decent fish toward the end there on the hula popper. Unfortunately, the big one got away. Fortunately, though, we were filming, so you saw it. It was on there. Daggone it. Not a fishing story if you can prove it. It's fishing fact. But it did work really well. It did good. I enjoyed that. It was fun. The loss of that one fish was really because of not being able to set the hook really well. I thought I kept a lot of tension on that fish, hoping that if he was partially hooked, I could drive it in a little further. But I did. It's 4-pound line on there, people. I don't know if I told you all that or not, but I only have 4-pound line. I usually use 4-6. I had 4 on that one, and that's one of the things that helps it cast so far and everything. So it's not like I could really have just reared back and drove it home. I would have probably broke the line. So I was trying very cautiously, and I got that fish right to the bank, right to the deck, right at the end. And when I reached down to get him, boop, I know because the lure hit me in the thumb. No hooks involved this time though, thank goodness. No trips to the emergency room. So all right, let's get that one out of here, and let's talk about really the star of the show today. The Model 33 spinner from about the 1955-56 era with no anti-reverse on a True Temp rod. Now, Mr. True Temp rod does okay for what it is, and I would imagine in its day, maybe it ranked up there fairly high, somewhere decent, but it, from about, oh, I don't know, 3/4 of the way up, maybe where it's a 2-piece rod, so maybe where it comes together here, up, it is like a horsewhip. But it worked really well, even without the anti-reverse, as long as you kept your hand on the one at the end of the crank arm there. And when you set the hook, everything was good. We caught that first one with the hula popper, and then we caught a couple more with some grubs and things. But that's what it was more about today. It was about you guys getting a chance to see these kinds of reels catching fish. So we caught some fish, and thank goodness for my lake where I can catch some fish. I want to be able to show you guys these things do function in the field. They do work. And some break. It's just how it goes. But I truly appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed this little blast from the past back in the 50s and into the 80s. And I'm sorry that the Classic didn't work. Maybe I can be talked into taking that Classic out again at some point. I think if I do a Zebco once a year spin cast reel, I'm okay with that, and I'm hoping that you will be too. But yes, I think I will, now that it's repaired, put some new line on it and take it out there and give it a chance to prove itself and not break. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Truly appreciate it. Again, we're about 980 something. We're almost there. You know, we're 16, 17 subs away from that 1K mark, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, those of you who are out there watching, I truly appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we will see you on the next one, whatever the next one may be. Maybe a opinion on Grape Crush. Boo, I wish you could drink Grape Crush. Man, would you like this stuff.